Who here, be honest, because I have a pretty diverse set of ages. Who here is actually Gen Z? I'm thinking of this as a Gen Z thing, but it's not. It's a person under 40 thing. So you're excluded, Atrioc. Yes, dude. Yes. Yes, that's the funniest thing I ever heard in my life. It's this piece that came out from the FT, and it's about the troubling decline in conscientiousness. Now, if you don't know what the word conscientiousness means, I never used it in my life. I mean, I've heard it, but I didn't. It is, in this context, means dependable and disciplined. People 16 to 39 would say no, would say that this is in free fall. And I think this is worth discussing because these traits are really highly correlated with good outcomes in life. Like the ability to keep and hold a job, the ability to stick with a relationship long term, to start a family. These outcomes are really highly correlated. Now, again, let me be real. None of this is discounting the things I talk about all the time, which is like the pretty rough state of the world right now and how things are difficult. And in fact, some of those things could be causing this feeling. But I just want to bring this up because, again, a lot of this is, I believe, even self-reported. People are feeling more neurotic, less agreeable, and this is important, less extroverted. This graph doesn't go as far back right here, but I want to explain to you that for every previous generation, the youngest group was always the most extroverted. This is the first time in history where the youngest group is the least extroverted, where they're the most introverted. That's never happened before. Like right now is the most introverted young people have ever been. It could be COVID, it could be social media, it could be wealth divide. It could be a mix of, it could be a gumbo of all of them. But I want to bring it up because this article I found to be actually really interesting and compelling and a little bit spooky because, you know, I'll be perfectly candid. Some of these things I feel in my own life. I feel like I have to fight to be disciplined in a way that I didn't before. So some of it could be access to distractions or whatever. I don't know, but it's real, I think. And I don't even think I have it as bad as some people who are younger than me, who are like really swimming in it. People in their 20s and 30s report feeling easily distracted and careless, less tenacious, and less likely to make and deliver on commitments. You don't see anything wrong with lumping 39-year-olds and 16-year-olds together in a room? Yes. In this survey? No. I think this is the charts they used for previous times, so you match it up. One of the theories that I think you guys have had and that I would probably agree with, and I think is a big part of it, is about the phones, about digital world, about the internet. That could be a part of it. People are less likely to make plans and follow through, less likely to persevere until finished, more easily distracted, more careless. What I would say is, how do I put this? There are certain things that are correlated with good life outcomes. One of them you can't control, and it's a big one. It's like your parents plus zip code, which basically means like the wealth you're born into and the safety and security of like the country you're in and all that. Parents plus zip code, you can't control it, and it has a really strong correlation with like financial stability, earnings potential, all that, okay? However, this is the tough part. The traits mentioned here have an even stronger correlation. Like they have a really, really strong, like if you truly are extremely dependable, extremely disciplined, it actually has a very strong correlation with getting the goals. You know, this is a narrative breaking thing for some people, and even I feel a itch to fight against it, but it's worth noting that valuing those skills and doing what you can to bring them into your life are important. It's something I've been thinking about lately because I think I've gotten way less disciplined and I want to like figure out how to bring it back. I sort of felt like I did it with myself with the Age of Empires thing, but I had to get so obsessive to do it. Like I wanted to set a goal and I wanted to follow through and I wanted to hit it and I wanted to like check all my replays and do all the things I used to do, but it's hard because I still feel like the way I do things is still too feast or famine. I can hit my goal, makes plans and follows through. I can do that with a goal, but once I get the goal, I don't have the discipline anymore. I can only do it when I'm trying to get something. So it's something I've been thinking about. Maybe we should stop the idea of trying hard equals cringe. That's what I was kind of making fun of at the beginning of the stream. Obviously, trying hard is not cringe. Trying hard is really cool. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we had a good discussion about this on the Patreon, me and Doug, because Doug is more of the all-in discipline guy. I think he's a conscientious guy, and I wanted to hear his thoughts too, because they're maybe different from mine. Caring about things is strange and gay. That's another take. Young adults report feeling less amiable and outgoing. Now, some people said COVID. That the data does agree with. There's a particularly steep drop shown in the latter during the pandemic, when young people bore the brunt of restrictions on contact in order to protect others from harm. Long the most extroverted group in society, young adults are now the most introverted. So I don't know, man. It just feels like, first of all, worth saying that as an individual, doing your best to like counteract these trends is good. Trying to be more dependable or disciplined or less distracted is good. But like when they're society-wide, there's something going on. And it could be a combination of phones and COVID and all, but something's happening. It's like, it's not like young people now are suddenly magically different. It's just something is happening. Maybe it's in the water. Maybe it was Uma Musume. These are really bad traits. I mean, nobody, if you ask them in a vacuum, would be like, yeah, I want to be really disagreeable, introverted, neurotic, and not dependable. Like, nobody would say that about themselves, but that's what people are reporting. People are saying that that's the people they're becoming. Anyway, a little nice outro. While these trends are undoubtedly troubling, we shouldn't be fatalistic. There's a wealth of evidence that personality is malleable. What has been eroded can be rebuilt. Less committed, less connected, and more easily distracted cohort will navigate them less well. Yeah, I agree, man. I think as challenges get harder, the ability to be not so easily distressed and a little bit more committed is going to be really valuable. And it's something I want to work on myself. Anyway, I just wanted to bring this up. If you have thoughts, either here now, I'll listen to some of these comments, or on YouTube clips. I'd love to hear them because it's doing things you don't want to do, but also just like when the path gets knocked aside or something weird happens or anything, when your plan doesn't go the way you planned, the ability to like not spiral is, I think, important. Very anecdotally, I've seen a lot of people my age, including myself, try to improve themselves and work on these traits after becoming frustrated who they become. Yeah, me too. Everybody I know, every now and then, someone will be like, I'm deleting all my apps. You'll see somebody be like, I hate my phone, or I'm deleting everything and I'm clearing the phone. And obviously they always come back. I definitely know because maybe I finally got there again. This is more of like maybe 6 months ago. 6 months ago, I was trying to really ramp up the amount of reading I was doing because I used to read a lot. And then I stopped reading and then I was getting back into it. And as I was doing it, I just found myself it was so much harder than it used to be. It was so much harder to like read a lot. Like if I wanted to read more than, I read 5 pages is fine. But if I wanted to read like 50 pages, my brain would always get distracted. And when I was younger, it was not a problem. I used to be able to do that all the time. And then I couldn't do it. I would always get distracted. I was getting mad at myself. I was getting frustrated that I couldn't stay focused on a book in a way that I used to. I was like, why the f is my brain not working the way it used to? And I think it is noted. I think there is something happening with distraction. The messed up part about discipline is you can use it to shore up every other skill, but it's very hard to work on discipline itself when you're lacking it in the first place. I think this is happening to everybody because we all have endless distractions, but I think it's the hardest for someone who's young, who grew up with that, swimming in the soup of distractions. You only get better at it by getting small wins in practice. Like you set a goal, you work, it's something small, and you work at it and you stick with it and you get it done and you're like, your brain's like, oh, reward loop, I got it. That's how this works. And then you get practice again on something harder. If it starts when you're really young, you never get any foundation. You never get the practice. You're always bouncing instantly. There's too much free dopamine now. Yeah, I mean, low key though. I think, we say it like it's a cliche, but I think it's real. I think our brain does almost everything for dopamine. And when dopamine is so abundant, when there's so many easier ways to get higher hits of dopamine, it's so hard to be like, I'm gonna do pull-ups every day for a month and get the dopamine of satisfaction that I did my goal. And like that's like a small hit of dopamine in a month, and I could get a massive hit right now. I really think that's the problem. If it was a different chemical, maybe we could balance it. But I think it is just dopamine either way. How about get Dr. K on Lemonade Stand and talk about these kinds of topics? Why would I get Dr. K on a thing when I'm already a doctor and I've already talked about it? Why would I need someone else to explain to me what I've already explained perfectly right now? I'm already a doctor and I already do K.